Welcome and thank you for joining us on Season 6 in Episode 6 in Season 3 of ScotiaLIVE webinar. My name is Carrie Ann Chung and I'm the Director of Sales and Service at Scotia Insurance. This evening's episode is titled Budgeting for the Big Ifs, Getting Ready for Life's Surprises with Critical Illness Planning. Today with me are Latoya Bryan, our Senior Insurance Advisor at Scotia Insurance. Thank you for being here with us. And joining us virtually is Pastor Trevor Edwards, our valued Scotia customer, who is also a prostate cancer survivor. Pastor Edwards, may I say how very happy I am to have you with us. Thank you for coming to share your journey with us this evening and how having a critical illness protection plan helped. We look forward to talking with both you and Latoya. And Latoya is an expert in the life insurance industry for many years. Now, viewers, please join us on Zoom as well as our Instagram page at Scotiabank Jam. And we invite you to send in your questions in the Zoom chat or in the Instagram live chat box. And we'll do our best to answer as many of them as possible now. And certainly afterwards, if we haven't answered all by the time the webinar has finished. Now, wouldn't it be good if we had a plan that paid us a lump sum were we to be diagnosed with a critical illness? And I'm happy to report that we do have such a plan. Now, a critical illness protection plan provides a lump sum benefit upon diagnosis of a covered critical illness. And I do believe that being financially prepared in the event of a diagnosis, one should ensure that they have a critical illness protection plan. Now, there are 3 types of critical illness protection plans that you can get here at Scotia. You can have critical illness protection through a Scotia Critic policy or a rider on an affirmed policy or through group creditor insurance. Now, it is one of the challenges that we have is not being prepared financially in the event of a critical illness diagnosis. Now, the future is unknown. We can't predict the future, but we can certainly plan for it. Now, without the safety net of a critical illness protection plan, in the event of a diagnosis, your lifestyle can change in a minute. In fact, it can pose some serious financial challenges to your family and to your loved ones. Without a critical illness plan, you really don't have the flexibility or the room to maneuver, to care for yourself and to pay those additional expenses and medical costs that comes when diagnosed with a critical illness. And certainly, you may not be able to cover the health care cost without health insurance or with just health insurance alone. You may be on a medical plan with your employer, and at the time you may not be employed upon diagnosis of a critical illness. You may have lost your job. And so having that critical illness protection plan will really come in handy at the time of a diagnosis. Now, you may have your home, you have your mortgage, you have your car, and you may not be able to keep up with those payments, so you could lose your home by not being able to pay your mortgage payments. You may need additional funding to pay other expenses that are not covered by your insurance. In fact, Your insurance has a limit, and sometimes you may exceed that limit, right? Now, we firmly believe, and I know you share this sentiment as well, Latoya, that everyone should have critical illness protection and life insurance as a part of their financial plan. And I know you tell your customers and your valued clients this every day.
Every day, Carrie-Ann. As a matter of fact, your financial plan is not comprehensive unless it includes critical illness protection and life insurance. We spend so much time accumulating wealth, building our net worth, through buying stocks, so many different types of investment, and we sometimes omit that very important aspect of critical illness protection and life insurance. And you do so at a risk of your very investment that you're accumulating. Because one critical illness can wipe out your entire life savings. The cost of taking care of a critical illness can sometimes be so onerous, can be so high that it will take out your life savings.
So you have persons who diligently save now.
Yes.
And I know a lot of young persons who are very investment savvy and more
Yes.
interested in savings and investment, but will omit this part of the financial plan.
Yes.
And so, as you said, the savings and the investment can become wiped out.
In a jiffy, Carrie-Ann. And this is why we emphasize the point that every single person needs to have critical illness protection.
So when is a good time to buy?
The best time to buy critical illness coverage is when you are young and you are healthy. When you are young, critical illness protection plans are more affordable. Mm-hmm. A 20-year-old can get critical illness coverage for under $1,200, $1.5 million under $1,200. That is affordable. Critical illness, the younger you are, mm-hmm. the lower the amount that you pay for those coverages. However, the next best time for you to take out a critical illness plan is right now. So if you don't have critical illness coverage now is the best time to take out one. We start from a low of $750,000 to $3 million for Scotia Critic. Mm-hmm. However, you can get an additional $2 million as a rider on an affirm policy.
And a total of $5 million.
A total of $5 million you can get as critical illness protection. Mm-hmm.
And the affirm starts at $500,000.
Yes.
The critical illness.
So you can get the total of $5 million on the affirm, mm-hmm. and you can get as low as $500,000.
And I know some persons listening will think it's very costly, but based on what you've just shared, we know that is not so. You can really have critical illness protection.
You
very
can.
affordable.
You can.
And very flexible too.
Yes, it is.
So let's say you started with $750,000 coverage. Are mm-hmm. you able to increase? Are you able to add more coverage?
So we encourage you to start by getting some form of coverage based on what you can afford now.
Yes.
So you may purchase $750,000 now. However, you can get another amount until you get to that maximum of $5 million. So you can have more than one plans, mm-hmm. but you do it based on what you can afford. So as you retire debts, as your salary increase, mm-hmm. you can always buy additional coverage.
I know, because I started with $1 million many years ago, and
yes.
today I pay $812
yes.
for that $1 million
yes.
coverage. I got it when I was pretty young.
Yes.
Now tell us, how do you qualify for Scotia Critic coverage?
So, Scotia Critic covers 9 critical illnesses. They are cancer, heart attack, stroke, paralysis, blindness, deafness, loss of speech, and coma. So we ask 5 simple health questions. Mm-hmm. Once you answer no to all those questions, you qualify. And you are a Jamaican resident between the age 18 and 60, mm-hmm. you qualify for our Scotia Critic.
So it's really simple and easy.
Very simple and easy.
Very simple and easy. And I'm very familiar with the health questionnaire. You know, you simply read those five questions and you tick yes or no.
Yes. Once you've had the policy for 180 days and you are diagnosed with a critical illness and you survive it for 30 days, then we pay that lump sum that you are covered for. Now that amount you can use to take care of medical expenses. You can use it to take care of any out-of-pocket expenses that may arise by you being diagnosed with that critical illness. You may even want to save that for a later date.
So there's absolutely no stipulation. We don't say to you, you need to pay this to the hospital or a healthcare provider.
No, we don't. You can use that amount to, take care of just about anything. You may want to retrofit your home based on that critical illness. One of the benefits with having the critical illness under Scotia Criticare is that there's an accidental death and dismemberment aspect of it as well. So that is also a benefit on the Scotia Criticare. There's also return of premium, where if you are contributing to this plan, you are not diagnosed with a critical illness, at the age of 75, we return the premiums back to you. Now, you can use that to do whatever it is that you want to do at that age, especially enjoying retirement.
Or if you've had it for 20 years, whichever one comes later.
Whichever one comes later, yes.
Great. So it's real peace of mind.
It is.
For a small sum of money. Now I'm going to come to Pastor Edwards, because we have discussed the benefit of having a critical illness plan. We know that early diagnosis pays, and we know that it is great to take preventative care in protecting yourself from having a critical illness. So, Pastor Edwards, I'd really love for you to come in at this time. And, one of the things I thought of is what really made you decide to come into Scotia and start a critical illness policy. And what type of policy was it, by the way?
Carrie Ann, thank you for your question. And I just want to say that I'm grateful for the privilege of sharing on this program and to endorse I'm just saying this before I answer your question directly, to endorse the critical illness program or critical illness policy that is marketed by your company. I just want to say too that it is an important part of healthcare and health management. And in addition to securing an appropriate policy like your company offers to assist with that process, is to encourage the men who are listening on this program to be more aware and conscious of their health care and to pay more attention to that area, and also to encourage the women to make sure that you encourage the men to do so. I know sometimes the fault is not on your side, because sometimes I know you tell them and they don't pay attention as they should, but encourage them. And I know there are persons here, you have fathers and you have brothers and you have sons. Make sure you highlight the importance of not only buying a critical illness policy, but also to maintain the vigilance in healthcare and visit your doctor, and also to ensure that you do that. So to answer your question directly, what led me to purchase this program? I bought a Criticare program some years ago. Actually, I was introduced to it by my advisor at the time, I think is Judith Patrick. She mentioned, because of another program I had with the company which she was managing, she mentioned this program, and I said, well, not sure I need it, but okay, since it is introduced, I would consider it. And of course, in my case, the only regret I have about the program is that I went for the minimum. I don't know if it was the minimum I could have had at the time, I don't remember, or what I could afford at the time, but maybe looking back, I perhaps could have bought a little more then. But I bought that program, and that was really what led me. There was no particular illness or concern at the time, except from the fact that I'm from a family where there are persons who have some pre-existing illnesses, and I know that sometimes you inherit these, and I had some of these conditions myself, and therefore I thought that having this program would have been, they're not considered critical in terms of the items on your program, are the ones you
recover.
You will cover. But I considered that it was important then to purchase this policy.
Glad you did. I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned Judith Patrick, your advisor, and so
yes,
she supported you along the journey as well.
Oh, most definitely. When I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, that was a journey, that was a process that came about because I maintained my regular visits to my doctor, did my regular PSA tests, and also the digital tests. These were done regularly, consistently, and it was observed that on one of these occasions that the PSA was a little elevated, and so my urologist decided to do some investigation. We pursued the investigation and discovered that there was that even though a biopsy was done, nothing was found. And this was a couple months after that. The PSA seemed to have been stable, and then it started rising again, and we felt we should do further investigation. And this led me to, with his advice and further consultation, to go overseas where a particular test was done which actually identified the exact place in my prostate where the cancer was. And they were able to do the biopsy and found it exactly there and therefore confirmed it. And I came back to Jamaica and surgery was done here. When I subsequently indicated to my advisor that this was the case, it was smooth sail. I think I just signed some document. I don't remember. It was such a smooth, it was such a smooth process that I don't even remember all the detail. But I know the money was sent to my account, and of course, this assisted with the expenses I incurred overseas, in addition to other health insurance, and also it assisted with some of the costs related to surgery. So it did come in handy, and I was happy I had a policy.
I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so happy to hear that. So you had the support of your advisor. The claims process was smooth, and you know, I always tell our customers that we have a team in the claims department that takes, you know, their jobs very seriously in ensuring that the process is a very seamless one, because we know it's emotional. It comes with physical challenges, having been diagnosed. So how was your support system, though, apart from having that financial support from the critical illness policy? How was your support system?
A tremendous amount of support, of course, from my family, my wife especially, who was able to give a lot of support within her profession as a medical doctor herself. As a medical doctor, she was able to round some support that assisted along the journey, and just emotional support from friends. And I have a male support group, and I encourage the men who are listening here. There are a lot of battles you can't fight on your own. And women generally, by their nature, tend to have a lot of female support. We men tend to stay by ourselves and don't talk about personal issues. But I am part of a men's support group, and we really have each other's back. And the support that was provided there, the encouragement, the prayer, opportunity to share. And my church family, I'm pastor of the Barbican Baptist Church, and certainly there are persons there who provided encouragement and prayer. And, you know, and really, really were concerned about me during this journey. So it was quite an emotional process, and dealing with the sense of loss, and this requires really spiritual adjustment and emotional adjustment. But the fact is, one of the things I discovered and learned is that we all have to die. But it does not mean that we have to die in the sense that we don't do the care and exercise in the care that
Agreed.
we can take of ourselves prior to that
Agreed.
process. There are some things which are sudden, there are some deaths which come upon us over a period of time. But whatever we can do, and if having a policy can assist us and having supportive people around us, it makes the journey easier and lighter and more manageable.
Yes.
And so support comes in those ways.
Reverend Edwards, you touched something there, because many persons of faith, will say, oh, I don't need to get insurance, or I don't need health care because the Lord will provide. So I'm very happy that in addition to you knowing that you have the support of your church family, you took this step to include critical illness protection in your financial plan, and there you are able to have that to help you along the journey, and certainly, have it where you could go overseas, you could return, and it helps with some of those expenses that will come once you're diagnosed with a critical illness. And so having a protection plan, like a critical illness protection plan, certainly helps you to get back to life and get back to life quicker. Wouldn't you say so?
Absolutely. The cost initially seemed formidable, but when I began to calculate, saw what I had, I found that it didn't add to the stress, because certainly when you're dealing with a critical illness, it's hard to be stress-free, and it's hard to not have your mind on that and not think of the worst.
Yes.
But when there are certain components of it, such as the cost of medication, the cost of surgery, and so on, and when you know that some of these costs can be treated in a way which are manageable, it helps to reduce the stress. And I think that was part of the advantage for me.
Yes.
And
so
that helped. It really helped in dealing with the stress and in incorporating it as part of the financial plan and preparation that was made.
Yes. And a lot of we'll say it from time to time, a lot of persons, the critical illness is not what really, affects them so badly. It is the stress and the worry
of thinking about where the next month
of where the funds are going to come from to take care of that really weighs on them. And so, Reverend Edwards, I'm so happy that Judith had the great mind to encourage you to start a critical illness protection plan. And, you started, even before we asked you any questions, by endorsing having a critical illness protection plan. So I am going to safely say that you are recommending others to have a critical illness protection plan.
Indeed, I would. And one of the things I would say to persons, if you can go above the minimum, it is to your advantage.
Yes.
And you ladies have been talking before that, if you have any change after you have covered a medical expense, that can help you. I know a colleague of mine who was able to finish his house that he was working on for some time after he was diagnosed with a critical illness, and he had a plan, and that helped him to cover some of his expenses and the medical expenses, and then he was able to, he had some excess that he was able to put towards completion of his house before retirement. So I think there are a lot of things that can be done, and certainly the importance of continuing to maintain vigilance in one's health, because part of me, the follow-up to this whole program was ensuring that, I had to visit my doctor like every 3 months. After then it moved to 6 months. Now it is annual because of the, it is clear I am
enjoying good health
free from that, from that point of view, because, and therefore I only visit once a year. So this is growth, And it allows a certain peace of mind, and it allows one to be able to concentrate on other things. Once you are engaged in the process of health maintenance, exercise, eat well, sleep well, try to avoid stress, and really manage that in a constructive and creative way. And again, I'm biased because I'm appealing to men on this program.
The men are often left out, so
yes,
thank you for that appeal on their behalf.
Part of the concern is that, as I said earlier, men sometimes do not share their concerns. They keep it in. And when you keep it in, nobody knows. And usually when it is dealt with, it is too late. And because of certain taboos related to, sexual health and all of that kind of thing, men tend not to share in this area. And so I really, really encourage men who are listening, and the informed and the assertive ladies, to make sure that they share with their men in their lives, that they need to pay attention in this area. So I definitely would recommend the plan.
Thank you so much, Pastor Edwards. That was really eye-opening, and I know quite a bit was learned by our viewers. So thank you for sharing. As you say, men don't often take the time to share, and you did, and I hope persons will take from this the benefits and the peace of mind, and that you are thriving after having had a critical illness diagnosis. So thank you, Reverend Edwards, and we'll keep you online while we go and answer some questions from our viewers. So at K-Spirit asks, can I have more than one plan, and can my family also be insured under the plan, Latoya?
So to answer your question, yes, you can have more than one plan. As I mentioned earlier, you may be able to afford only, a portion of what we cover now. And as you retire debts and as your salary increases, you can purchase more coverage, right? So you can have more than one policy. You can't cover everybody under one plan, though.
Right.
I do encourage for persons who have children 18 years and over who may be not working, not earning, you can be the payer for their policy.
Yes.
So you have a teenager who is in college now, they too can be diagnosed with a critical illness, and it's very important. It's very affordable, as I mentioned earlier. And if you can spare that amount and get them covered until they're able to, manage for themselves, I do encourage that we do. And if you have a spouse and you want to be the payer for your spouse, you're a grandma, you want to pay for your grandchild, you can do that as well.
Great. And one of the birthday gifts I gave my daughter, my 22-year-old, who was 20 then, it was a critical illness plan, Scotia Critic here. So yes, you can have it, certainly be paying for other loved ones. Now, at Winsome Beauty asks, I have a good medical plan at work. Why do I need critical illness insurance? Good question. Thank you for that question.
Yeah, that's a good one. So you have a good medical plan at work. What if you should leave your job? Will that medical plan come with you? In addition to that, the medical plan may not cover all critical illnesses. Having a critical illness protection plan, a personal one, means you can claim on this once you are diagnosed with a critical illness. You don't have to worry if you are still at that job. Right. You may not be able to afford it when you are to leave that job, and they are converting it now to a regular insurance coverage. So it's very important that you have your personal critical illness protection plan.
I agree, and you could also tap out on the limit too.
Yes.
With your medical plan at work. So Jerry Prendergrass says, this is for Pastor Edwards. And Pastor, he says, even though you had critical care, in hindsight, is there anything else you believe you could have done to be more prepared? Thank you, Jerry Prendergrass, for that question. Reverend Edwards, He says,
Yeah.
even though you had a critical care, and I'm thinking critical illness plan, in hindsight, is there anything else you believe you could have done to be more prepared?
Hardly. I think I did all the things that one could have prepared for, in that at about, from I was age 40, I really made a deliberate intention to focus more on maintaining good and better health.
Okay.
So as far as it was within my power and in terms of what I control, I didn't always hit the mark at 10 between, on a scale of 1 to 10, I did not, 10 being the best. I didn't always hit 10, but I managed to be close to that as I could. So that the things I could have done, I did. And I believe that adding, I had a good health insurance program, and adding another component to prepare just in case was added. And also in terms of my own spirituality,
Yes.
prayer and maintaining emotional health. And this has been a critical part of my journey, maintaining emotional health and also helping others to be able to maintain spiritual and emotional health, because part of my motto is to have a voice and give others a voice. So those, in terms of practical things, as I said, I maintain those in terms of exercise, walked regularly, even now with COVID.
Yes.
And you know, if I'm in the house, I have to be doing something, working from the computer. If I have to take a telephone call and it's going to be longer than half an hour, I'm walking. And sometimes I cover a mile just walking in the house from that telephone conversation. So that is a practical thing that someone can do.
Yes.
Most time people are talking, you think you have to sit down and talk. And so there are different things. You're sitting down, you get up periodically and stretch.
Yeah.
And so these are some of the things you can do to continue, because if you're alive, you have to maintain your health.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, Rev.
So it's about maintaining those very practical ways of healthcare.
Thank you. In my view, Rev, you really had all the components. You were very prepared. You know, the spiritual preparation, the support of family, friends, just that health insurance, and also having critical. You really checked all the boxes. Yes, thank you. So Rev, there's another question for you, and I know you'll soon have to go. But Lorna Harvey asked, how soon after opening your policy were you diagnosed with prostate cancer?
That I don't recall, but I know it was more than 5 years after. Far more than 5 years.
Yes.
So it wasn't any, in other words, the time that I opened the policy, I should have anticipated that question and checked my records. But the time the time when I had to was certainly not close to the time when I bought the policy. I bought it and forgot that I had it. Kind of said. I really forgot. And then I checked. I said, but didn't Judith tell me something about? And then I checked through, and basically she confirmed that yes, it is there.
Yes.
So it is something I bought and forgot. It is sometime after.
And see,
between 5 to 10 years.
You see the benefit of having that plan and having that peace of mind and putting it aside. And Reverend Edwards, you will not be the first person to say they forgot that they had that critical illness plan, because the payments are automatic. It comes from your account. Right. And so, you know, it's seamless. Yes. So you really don't have to remember it at all. Just ensure that there are funds there to make that payment regularly. So thank you. And there's another question from I Love My Life. Are the payments made directly to me or my healthcare provider? Thank you for that question.
That's a very good one as well, Carrie-Ann, because persons would love to know that this money is coming to them and not necessarily to a healthcare provider. as Rev even said in talking about a friend of his who claimed and was able to finish his house.
Yes.
So you get this money and you get it to your bank account. You do what you want to do with that amount.
Yes.
So no, it's not paid over to a medical facility. You get it in your account to do what you want to do with it.
Great. And there's another question, Lisa Hotness 1990. Are there any other benefits payable under the critical illness insurance plan? And apart from the lump sum benefit that we mentioned, which is a great benefit.
Right. And so I mentioned also the accidental death and dismemberment.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically dismemberment is if you should lose, sight in your eyes, your limbs, that sort of thing. A portion of that is paid over to you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also the return of premium. Now,
Yes.
this part is the one that I really, really love.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are paying this premium, you may be paying it for a 50-year period, and you are not diagnosed with a critical illness. Where has that money gone? You are given back your premium. So you get back the amount that you've paid as your premium. Mind you don't get back interest or anything, but you get back your premiums that you've contributed over the years,
So
which is a
win-win.
significant, it is a win-win.
It's a win-win.
It is a win-win.
All these years you had peace of mind
Yes.
that were anything to happen and you're diagnosed, you would have this lump
This
sum.
lump sum.
And at the end of it, at the expiration, then you get back your premiums. A win-win, if you ask me.
Yes, it is.
And then we have a question from Prudence Wisdom from Zoom. What plan is available for persons over 40 as well as over 60 years old? Also monthly payments associated.
So for the over 40, the Scotia Critic and their firm are both available in terms of critical illness protection. The age limit, though, is 60. Unfortunately, those persons over 60 would not be able to purchase critical illness coverage. And this is why it's very important that the young persons take advantage of the affordable cost in terms of the monthly premiums now. Because when you reach a certain age, it's going to be a little bit more than what you'll be paying now as a young person. So take advantage now so that you won't find yourself in that position at over 60 without critical illness protection.
Oh, thank you, viewers. And if you're just joining, welcome. And we took questions a while ago about having a critical illness protection plan. We heard from Reverend Edwards about his journey with critical illness diagnosis and how he was able to overcome, and with the help of family, friends, his spirituality, and also the financial plan. Now, in this segment, we're going to be talking about creditor insurance. Now, let's say you had a nice car you just bought, or your lovely home, and you got it via a mortgage. And an untimely occurrence happened, and you're not able to make those mortgage payments or those loan payments. Wouldn't you like to have a plan that paid off those debts? And yes, creditor insurance is the plan that pays off your unpaid balances, whether it is a Scotia plan loan, a mortgage, or a credit card with Scotiabank. So you're able to have your loan, your mortgage, your credit card be protected with ScotiaLIVE protection and health crisis protection. And so a lot of persons may ask, so I now have my asset, and what if I should not be able to afford it, or what if I become critically ill? What happens? And they worry. And this is where I'm encouraging persons, when you access that loan, when you get your mortgage, consider having ScotiaLIVE protection and also health crisis protection, right? So how does it work really though, Latoya?
So Creditor Life is paid in the event of the death of the person who took out the loan, mortgage, or credit card. And the health crisis protection covers the balance of the loan if you should be diagnosed with one of the critical illnesses covered under the plan. And those are heart attack, stroke, and cancer. It also covers dismemberment as well. So for creditor insurance or health crisis protection, those are the 3 critical illnesses that are covered. So after taking out that loan, that mortgage, having that credit card for over 12 months, and you should be diagnosed with a critical illness, imagine all of what you're owing on that loan, that mortgage, that credit card being paid off for you. That's how it works.
And you can also have joint borrowers. So
Yes.
you both put together and you've purchased your lovely home.
Yes.
Then of course it's available for both.
Yes, for both up to a maximum of $42 million.
Awesome. And of course you have that 30-day free look period.
Yes.
So creditor insurance, this is one that covers the assets and pays off the unpaid balances, and then that goes to the bank, right?
Yes.
Whereas the critical illness protection
Comes to you.
pays a lump sum and comes to you.
Yes.
And on that note, I'd love to ask, Reverend Edwards, now that you've heard the benefits and everything of both, if there are any last words, because I know that you will have to go as well to Rev.
Right. Just to say that I have one of those policies as well,
Ooh.
which really covers my credit card balance in case there's a balance.
I didn't even know
Yeah,
that.
so that's one of those policies. And again, it's a little bit of peace of mind to know that it is there and that is covered. And my family would not have an issue to worry about that if there is a problem there. The other little question I just want to, it's an input or maybe something I want to throw to you, because you are marketing an excellent program. And I guess coming from where I am as a pastor, and my heart here is that sometimes I feel that the persons who really, really do need this kind of program may find that they can't afford it. And the question is, how can you make this available and accessible? And I'm thinking, is there some kind of community fund within the organization that could be established so that perhaps persons on a case of need, maybe again you could maybe restrict the years between 60 to 65 or 60 to 70, but restrict it and maybe look at some special condition, and maybe one of them could be need. It could be that the person will be able to pay a percentage of the insurance, but maybe not all of it. But by paying that, it allows them to be able to access even an established minimum that could assist. I'm just throwing this out as something to give some consideration to, so that some of those persons, as I say, who may have the greatest need, may just not be able to access.
Oh, thank you, Reverend Edwards, for that suggestion. And I can really see that you pastor people, because here you are looking out for others, right, Latoya?
Yes.
You wouldn't be, anyone else if you didn't do that. And so it is something too that your congregation can look at, because a number of churches actually come together and get health insurance plans, and also just encourage their membership to ensure that they have health insurance, retirement plans, and critical illness protection plan. And Rev, remember one of the things we said, it's very affordable. You can get insurance, critical illness insurance, for less than $1,200 per month, right?
Yes.
My math may be off, but that's
Yes.
like less than $40 per day.
Yes.
Right? So it's something that you can all look at, and having that as a group as well too, and encouraging everyone to certainly have that creditor protection and also critical illness protection. So thank you, Reverend Edwards. It was a pleasure having you, and thank you for sharing with us.
Okay, thank you.
All
And
right.
all the best for the rest of the evening.
Thank you. Reverend Edwards is a real strong customer.
Yes.
And we really thank him. So Latoya, what happens after a diagnosis? So you have your lovely car, you have your lovely home, and you're diagnosed with a critical illness. What happens then in terms of creditor insurance?
Imagine not having another loan payment to make. I had a customer, 26 years old when I did an affirm for him. I remember when I was doing that affirm, and I said to him, you know, you need to have critical illness. The first thing he said to me was, he is young, you know, he doesn't have any illnesses. 2 years later, I got a call that he had a heart attack at 28 years of age. He had a loan, he had the affirm. I was able to do the claim for him. And after doing the claim, I remember that he is also a customer with a loan. And so I went over and I checked. He did the health crisis protection and did not remember that he had it.
Again, that happens.
His loan of over $1 million was paid off. Just like that, no more monthly payments.
Okay. And he would have had the benefit of the asset or whatever he had borrowed.
Yes.
Yes.
So he is now debt-free. He got his lump sum from the critical illness protection on the affirm, and he was able to invest that because he had health insurance with his company. So right there, it's just win-win all the way for that customer.
And I'm sure he's recovering well.
Oh yes, he's back on the job, still earning. So that's just a win-win for that particular customer. And that's how we would want it for everybody else.
That's awesome. And would the person have to claim, you know, with you and then go to their personal banking officer to claim?
The good thing is that Scotia Insurance, that's the same place you do the claim for the affirm. You don't need to go through getting the doctor to sign off on your documents, anything like that again. We would use the same documentation to process both claims.
Great. So literally a one-stop.
Yes.
A one-stop shop.
Yes, just once.
Excellent. So whether you have a Critic here and an affirm,
yes.
Can you claim on both?
Oh, yes. Yes. As I said earlier, you can have more than one policies. You can have a Critic here and you can have critical illness coverage as a rider on your affirm. And you can also have your creditor insurance.
That's excellent. So critical illness protection in the form of an affirm, a write-up, or Scotia Critic here gives you that personal protection.
It does.
And if anything should happen and there's a diagnosis of a covered critical illness, then it goes to you.
Yes,
that lump sum.
you are paid.
Whereas the creditor insurance, then the unpaid balances of the loan
is paid off.
So it doesn't come to you.
No.
Great.
But you'll be debt free.
You'll be debt free.
Which is awesome.
You'll be debt free. And then we have some more questions. So we'll go and we'll take some more questions. And this is at Bad from me born. If I had a heart attack or any of the illness mentioned and I get better in a few weeks or months, then return to work, would I still receive the payout? Great question.
Yes, you would. You would. Once you are diagnosed with that critical illness after having it for 180 days, you will be paid that amount.
And you survive for at least 30 days?
Yes. Once you survive for 30 days, that lump sum is paid over to you. And, I mean, that is what we really want to happen. You go back to doing...
Get better.
Yes.
People to get better and to go back to what you love doing and to have, you know, a great life.
Critical illness protection, it helps you to deal with the financial part of it while you focus on recovering.
Recovering stronger.
Right.
Excellent. I have questions asked, why are only cancer, heart attack, and stroke covered by the critical illness insurance? What of other illnesses that sometimes become life-threatening? Thank you for that question.
So those are just 3 of the 9. We cover 9 actually. So it's heart attack, stroke, cancer, major burns, paralysis, blindness, deafness, loss of speech, and coma. So there are actually 9 critical illnesses that we cover. The heart attack, stroke, and cancer
Is under the
under
creditor
the creditor insurance, right?
Yes, yes. And those are the major ones that will see you having to expend a lot of energies, a lot of funds.
Yes.
You know, and so certainly if you're diagnosed with that, you know, the loan is paid out. You won't leave your loved ones alone. And it's important too that we indicate that there's creditor life protection.
Yes.
So, you know, God forbid the worst occurs and the borrower should pass, then the loan, the unpaid balance of that loan, that mortgage, that credit card is also paid out.
So imagine having a mortgage and you should pass and your wife, your children, or your husband, your children won't have $1 to pay.
Mm-hmm.
That
you
is
won't
why
leave them alone.
you
Literally.
won't. Yes, that
You
is why
won't leave them
creditor
alone.
insurance is very, very important.
Thank you, thank you. Now, Terry Ann James says, explain the statement if it is less than 30 days. What happens?
I think she's.
So if you don't survive for 30 days.
So all your premiums that you've paid up until that point will be paid over to your beneficiary.
Your beneficiary.
Yes.
Having not survived the critical illness, unfortunately, then that now, you know, your premiums are returned. So that
Yes.
return of premium benefit
Yes.
also kicks in here as well and is a benefit to your loved ones
Yes.
as well. And we have a question from Cecil Witter on Zoom. Does the government get any of the money? Me want to know if tax involved. Cecil seemed very strident, but yes, they went any service
No.
you get. There's a service charge, no?
I think he's talking about the payment.
Oh,
The lump
okay.
sum payment.
Okay.
So once we pay you, if you're covered for $3 million, we will credit your account with $3 million. The government gets none of that.
Oh, and no, we really need to stress that.
Yes.
And it seemed very strident.
Yes.
So this lump sum that you get,
Yes.
whatever the coverage is,
That's what you get in your account. Not $1
No
is taken out.
taxes.
No.
no taxes, no
No.
fees, no service charges are
No.
taken.
None of that.
That, you know, that was a very good question because
Yes.
I know a lot of persons
Yes.
may ask.
Yes, it is.
Yes. And Whittingham J on Zoom asks, do you cover all types of cancers?
Yes, we do. There is a limitation and an exception on skin cancer, but we cover all different types of cancers.
Okay. And of course, when they sit with you,
Yes,
we will have
we go
them
through
go
those.
through the policy provision in
Yes, we do.
detail, you know, what it covers. And
Yes.
they also have, you know, 10, how many days as a free look? For
10 days.
10 days.
10 days free look.
Yes,
10 days.
Yes.
So you get to go through everything. If you're not satisfied, then you can come back. We can explain it for you, but you get 10 days.
Okay. And so we have time for one last question from Zoom. Ricardo Webster, how will my beneficiary know if they're eligible to make a claim? Thank you for that question.
So we encourage everybody, when we are doing that policy for you, we take your beneficiary information and we encourage everyone, if you have a change in address, if you have a change in telephone number, email address, please update it so that in the event we have to make contact, we have valid numbers for your beneficiary. But we do make contact with your beneficiary when we are aware that someone has passed. And so your advisor, usually we check the obituaries. We are informed most times in the communities if, someone has passed, then we get working.
Thank you, Latoya. And thank you for all those questions. And we did commit. If there were others that we have not answered, we will definitely be answering them. I want to thank Reverend Edwards for taking the time to share with us. I know it was edifying to a lot of persons. And thank you too, Latoya. Any comments before we close? Any final comments?
I just want to encourage everyone to ensure that life insurance and critical illness protection is a major part of your financial plan. Without it, you will see your life being changed significantly if you should be diagnosed with a critical illness. So I will encourage you, just go out there, seek a Scotia Insurance advisor now and get a plan going.
Yes, and I'm sure you'll be happy to assist
I would.
and our other advisors
Yes.
as well. And so, Latoya, thank you. And I want to stress, and I know it is something that you just said a while ago, ensure that critical illness protection must form a part of your financial plan. So a lot of persons will save, will invest, will have, their nest egg,
Yes.
but forget this important part, the protection cornerstone.
Yes.
And so we're encouraging you, between the ages of 18 to 60, ensure that you have a critical illness protection plan in the form of a Scotia Critic or an Affirm, and just have that financial support in the event of a diagnosis. We can't predict the future, but we can plan for it. And just listening to you, it's easy, simple to understand, and affordable and flexible, as you said.
Yes.
If you can't start with getting the maximum,
Start
start with a coverage, just like Reverend Edward said. He said, if anything, he would have preferred if he had more coverage. But you can start with what you can afford and increase coverage over time. And of course, have peace of mind with all that is happening in the world. Just pay a small premium and let us take care of that aspect of it for you.
Yes.
And speak with an insurance advisor like Latoya and others, or you can call us at our Wealth Contact Center, and they will ensure that they put you through to an advisor that is closest to you, and you can have that discussion with them. So I really want to thank everyone for tuning in, for participating, and I encourage you, give us a call, speak with an insurance advisor today. You can call us on 888-467-5542, or you can visit any one of our Scotia branches, and we'll be very happy to speak, guide you, advise you. Thanks to all our valued customers for choosing Scotiabank. And thank you for tuning in on this, our 6th episode in the third season of our ScotiaLIVE webinar. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Download the new Scotia app with a faster low-time bank wherever, whenever. Be in control and transfer funds or pay bills quicker with just a few taps and a swipe. Plus, we're serious about security. Want real-time notifications for all your transactions? Check. Log in with fingerprint? Check. Turn your credit card on and off? Triple check. Protected. Your money is safe and secure. Bank wherever, whenever. You choose with the new Scotia app.
Wow. Stop. What?
Oliver,
Is who that hollering out my name?
who are you following because Scotia Bank? Quick.
Go which bank? Whole foot like we fit on our yard and bank online.
Ain't that safe?
It's the safest thing. Just download the Scotia app or go to Scotia online for everything like transfer or check your balance and everything online free.
Free.
Bank with Scotia online. Let me show you. But I'm not going with my phone.